Hello, welcome to No Jars Allowed. Wait, hold on, I've got a speaker on someplace. No, it's my headphones. Killing that. There we go. Welcome to No Jars Allowed, guys. I'm Will from Tested. It is Tuesday night, I think. Today we were out in the field doing crazy stuff, so we don't really have a video for tomorrow. That's why I'm here answering questions tonight. The way No Jars Allowed works is that I hate jars, but I like to drink out of mugs. This is a mug. It's filled with a beverage. I'm going to sit here and drink and answer questions until the beverage goes from up here to down there and runs out, at which time I may answer a few more questions before I sign off and get this video ready to be posted on YouTube's and the internet. That's pretty much it. It's a really straightforward idea. So start sending me questions if you have them. Go to @Will. I'm looking in the tested.com chat. There's a link on the homepage if you're on Justin TV. You go to tested.com, and then right underneath the big picture of Adam Savage, there's a little picture of me holding up a mug looking like a dumbass like this, and it says No Jars Allowed. And if you click that, it will take you to the correct page. Also, it is on twitter.com/Will Smith. Since I don't have any questions really yet, except for somebody who says he's going to pause the bombcast for No Jars, I'm going to talk about PAX. Because I went to PAX this weekend, and it's always really fun. It's one of my favorite events of the year. I get to go around and basically just kind of hang out and play board games and stuff, and have a good time. So I'm going to show you my haul from PAX. The first thing I got is this. It's Eminent Domain. Wait, it's upside down. It's Eminent Domain. This is a 4X board game, deck building game. So it's kind of like Dominion, but instead of trying to collect victory points by farming and subjecting peasants to horrible tragedies and torture, you are exploring, exterminating, expanding, and exploiting planets in the universe. It's really good. It has little plastic spaceships. I didn't bring one of those in, but they're rad. They're like that big, and they're all detailed and injection molded and really cool. I also had a couple things that I wasn't actually able to find at PAX as part of my haul. This is Android Netrunner. It is a deck building game again. There's a recurring theme here. This is a cyberpunk deck building game. It's based on a CCG from like the late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. Kind of a Magic style thing. They retooled it as a deck building game so that you don't have to buy thousands of dollars worth of cards in order to actually play and be competitive, which is much more appealing to me because deck building CCGs are damaging for my soul, and I have problems with obsessive compulsive behavior. So, and I got one more thing. Wait, where'd they go? Bag of dice. So there's this thing called Chessex, and they sell bags of dice at PAX. It has a little label. It says pound of dice. This is a pound of dice. And they're not normal dice. They're all sorts of crazy like D&D dice. I've never really played D&D, and I've never had D&D dice, so I'm pretty stoked about this. This is, I think, a 12-sided die. If we don't get any good questions, I'm just going to go through and show you each of the die in the bag. Also, if we're really lucky, there's a bag, one little bag in here of good die. I haven't opened this yet. It's completely unsealed, or sealed. There's a staple there still you can see. So I might open this live on camera so you can see my reaction when I find out what dice I got. You can also, I found out I didn't have to get this in Seattle and haul it back. I could have just ordered it on Amazon for $20, and it's Prime eligible and everything. So, yeah. Okay, I'm looking to the right and I see questions. I assume that since tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific is the iPhone event for, Apple. They make phones. We'll probably have a lot of questions about that. I'm only going to answer a few because I'm tired of speculating. I was tired of speculating before I started speculating, so don't ask a bunch of iPhone questions because I know you guys think I have inside information. I don't. I'm just a dude, just like anybody else. Apple doesn't tell anyone except for John Gruber anything before the event. Here we go. Scrolling down. Oh, scroll doesn't work on our chat thing. The new chat, by the way, was done around the time we relaunched the site, and we haven't gotten to use it a whole lot. It seems like the chat lags a little bit when you get a bunch of people in there, but I'm not 100% on that. It might be okay. Always Be Clothing says, "Hey, Will, what's in your jar?" Diet Coke. That's a sip. Looks like about a fifth of the questions answered right there. This might be a short show. Next question is from Katz Akimbo. Hold on, we won't talk about that. Yeah, we're working on that. It's problems, mistakes were made. I think we had a spam problem with blog posts on the site last week, and I think Andy said we had around 128,000 spam blog posts, which aren't exposed to anybody except for Google. So that was bad. We deleted 170,000. I can't remember. We deleted like 130,000 accounts that were spammer accounts. Luckily, they made it easy for us to figure out which ones were spammers. If we accidentally deleted your account, send me an email. My email's on the homepage, and we'll reinstate you. But yeah, that sucked. Spammers are dicks. And it caused us a little bit of problem with, I think, Spybot or WebRoot spyware, whatever the WebRoot spyware thing is called, antivirus thing is called now. I'm going up to the questions. Always Be Clothing asks a second question. 2 questions. Too fast. I don't know. Always Be Clothing. Are you going to do a video about Steam's big picture mode? Yes. Yes, we will. It's pretty rad. I don't know if you guys have used it yet. But I played some Borderlands last night in my living room over there with a gamepad. One of these right here, an Xbox controller. And you can do things like press the home button to bring up the Steam overlay. And if you pull the right trigger and press the home button, it takes a screenshot. I think it's pretty cool. Next up. Rude Cubes wants me to confirm or deny Tested.com presence at the Big Live Show 3. Live hardest. I don't know, it's a real dumb joke. I shouldn't have made that. It's not my show anymore. I am not going to be at the Big Live Show this Friday, unfortunately, because I booked a conference in Portland 4 or 5 months ago, and they asked me last week if I could come do the Big Live Show. There's a dog hair up here. That's really gross. Hold on. It might be stuck. Oh, wow. Move the camera and everything. This isn't good. Oh, look at that. Can you see it? Can you see it? Look, right there. That's dog hair. She's that far off the ground. How does the hair get all the way up on top of my monitor? I don't know. She's furry. I'm not going to be there because I'm going to XOXO in Portland, and I paid kind of a lot of money to go there. So, sorry, guys. I think I don't want to commit to anything, but word on the street is that perhaps some Tested presence will be in the audience toward the end of the day on Friday. So, I don't know. That's what I can tell you. Falcon wants to know, what was the most boring class I took in college and what was the most exciting or entertaining? This is a kind of weird question, but okay. I took a lot of boring classes. I didn't really like my major very much. I took it because it seemed like a good career move, and I thought I wanted to be a doctor until I went and worked for doctors. And then I realized that I really didn't want to be a doctor or work for doctors. And while I was very good with a pipette, they were developing machines that could replace the mouth suction on the pipetting and were probably a lot safer and better for you. So I figured unless I was going to go to graduate school, I was going to have real problems. Most boring class. Wow. Probably like Western civilization or some history class, because I've always enjoyed history, so I read a bunch of books about that stuff really at a fairly young age, like in high school and stuff. So by the time I got to college and was doing like the core requirement Western civilization class, like nothing, it was all old, and it was just a bunch. It was like the problem with my history classes, and this may have just been the school I went to, but I kind of feel like a lot of requirement history classes are like this. It's that instead of learning about the interesting thing, like the causality of history and why things happened or why we think things happened, because nobody really knows, we spent a lot of time memorizing dates that who fucking cares about dates? Sorry. We're on Justin, not YouTube, so I can say naughty words. So I didn't like history. I really, really liked the biophysical chemistry stuff. Like once we got into the genetic, molecular biology and genetic stuff, it gets really interesting, and it's kind of amazing to see how the world works. That's why I was really stoked about that ENCODE stuff last week that came out. It's like that is the revolution for the next generation, is to figure out right now we think we know how proteins how DNA turns into proteins. We have a pretty good grasp of that kind of stuff. And proteins have a lot to do with how life works, but really we have no fucking clue how anything besides manufacturing proteins works, and how your body and how biology knows which proteins to switch on at which times and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to see what happens next. And I hope my lifetime is long enough to appreciate that and get to see the fruits of that work, because it's a massive project and people devoted their entire lives to it. So, but yeah, I like molecular biology a lot. I also really enjoyed my ASL class, my American Sign Language, and then I took this Powder Puff History of Rock and Roll class that was just badass, and it gave me a founding for the music that a foundation for learning about music that I didn't really, and kind of criticism that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise, because I had a particularly good teacher. I find. The thing I've always found is that the best classes were the ones with the best teachers. So, find out who the good teacher is. I don't know if there's got to be like Yelp for teachers now. So, like, even if the teacher's a hard ass and is going to be difficult, it's usually much more interesting to have somebody who challenges you than who's going to just phone it in. Going on to the next question. Bryce W. Gilbert says, I haven't listened to this week's podcast yet. Okay, well, I'm not going to read the rest of your question then, so I'm sorry. Wait, no. But did you read the candidates' responses to those science questions? Yes. Yes, I did. The Big Red says, Will, what do you think about the massive sell-off of Apple stock leading up to the iPhone 5 release? I am not a stockbroker, and I do not make estimates or guesses about what Apple stock price is going to do as a result of press conferences. They do a really good job of keeping all of their stuff super secret, so no one knows what's happening. They're just assuming it's going to be bad news, and everybody I've ever known who's shorted Apple stock before press conference has kind of done bad on it, so whatever. I mean, if you want to make money on Apple, then don't buy products, buy stock, right? That's the lesson. Saroth wants to know about my cosplay plans. How are they coming along? Comic-Con is like 10 months away, and that's the earliest I would wear a costume anywhere. And I kind of don't know exactly what I want to make, so not very well so far, I guess. I got to spend some time thinking about it, and we've been really busy the last 2 months, so yeah. I think I'm going to buy a welder, though, so, I mean, that's cool, right? Katsukimbo wants to know about my PAX visit. What did I do at PAX? So everybody I met at PAX can attest to this, but I think everyone that I talked to, all the readers who bumped into me and said hi, I went to PAX and had fun. Like, I was there. My wife came for the first time. She'd never been before. Last year was my first trip. And Friday we walked around with Gary and his girlfriend and the space rocket, and kind of saw just kind of tooled around, looked at the show floor, bumped into people, saw Drake and Pope at the Rock Band booth. Let's see, what else did we do? I mean, we just kind of tooled around and kind of, like, you kind of gotta, it's a big show, right? You kind of gotta soak it in some. So then Friday night we went and played Agricola after dinner, maybe after the Bombcast, with just two other random people, which was awesome because we play Agricola by ourselves all the time. I've never tried to teach anyone else how to play Agricola because it's a kind of complex game. And several of our board game playing friends would profoundly be not into Agricola. So yeah, we did that, and most of the rest of the time I spent I did go see the Oculus Rift, which was awesome. I didn't have an appointment. I just kind of, bulldozed in there. And I, hung out with friends and played board games in any remaining time. Mags and Gina and I played a game of Carcassonne late on Saturday night, which was awesome. I don't think I'd ever played the paper version of that before. I've always played the Xbox version or the iPad version. So playing paper on Carcassonne was kind of rad. I didn't do any PC free play this year. I didn't even see where it was, and I didn't get over to the Invitational or any of that stuff. So I was a little bummed that I missed that. But I mean, at this point, I've worked in the kind of games, computer, tech industry long enough that when you go to an event like PAX, it's like going to camp. You see friends that you haven't seen in a really long time. So it's a good time. I can't endorse PAX highly enough. Chick Digger 802 wants to know, how do you get rid of old stuff for new stuff? I.e., I want a Kindle Paperwhite, but all my family already have a Kindle, so you don't have anybody to pass it down to, I assume. I do a couple of different things. Like I'm pretty good about passing down phones and stuff like that, assuming they're not too gouged up to my parents or sister or whatever. On something like a Kindle, it's a little weird. You could hunt down somebody who has the cheapest, the oldest Kindle and give them your old one. Some of that stuff has pretty good resale value, although I bet that the Kindles, because they were selling for $79, $80 new last year and still are going to be kind of limited. Like, I don't know that you'd get more than $30 or $40 out of that. It may not be worth doing that. I don't know what I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. So hit Chick Digger up in the comments, and I'll kind of look at that. Yeah, I'm real bad about selling stuff. I don't like doing Craigslist sales just because I don't like dealing with people who on Craigslist. Like when you sell electronics on Craigslist in San Francisco, sometimes it gets real weird. So that's bad. Kindle Paperwhite, though, I'm really fucking stoked for. It looks awesome. I try not to get excited about stuff that's not, had human contact with it yet, really. But I mean, the last generation Kindle was pretty damn near perfect. So with a light, I'm in. I pre-ordered that. No doubt. Rex wants to know, any thoughts on the mystery object that smashed into Jupiter unannounced last night? We were off-site shooting all day, and I didn't know that anything hit Jupiter, but I watched 2001 a lot, and that was all about Jupiter. Well, hold on. I guess the book was about Saturn, but the movie was about Jupiter. And, I mean, there's no, unexplained children or ghosts of my mother or anything in here, so seems good so far. I'm going to go read about that as soon as we're done, though, because that sounds pretty awesome. Okay. It's a Pizza says, Will, you can drink caffeine so close to going to sleep. It's not really a question, except for there's a question mark at the end. And yes, I can. The only useful piece of information, I mean, there's a lot of cool information in that 23andMe thing, which is one of the genetic surveys. It's the one that Sergey Brin's wife runs. You basically spit in a jar, you send off the sample, and then they send it back with a whole bunch of trivia about you. So it's good for self-obsessed people. But the only useful thing about it was that they told me I could process caffeine more efficiently than the average person, which is why I can drink a giant jar mug full of Coke at the wee hours. It's diet. If it was the sugar Coke, that would probably keep me up more than the caffeine. Mark says, Will, I am Canadian and am wondering about getting a sticker, an old tested sticker. When may I be able to get the address info? I am Canadian and it might take a little bit to get my envelope there. Do we still have tons? Yeah, we haven't sent any out yet because we just got a mail slot this week. It's pretty exciting. The address, if you would like to send a stamped self-addressed envelope, it's real easy. It's tested, next line, 790 Brannan, Brannan Street, comma, second floor, San Francisco, California, 94103. And we have a +4 thing, but I don't remember what that is. So again, it's 790 Brannan Street, second floor, San Francisco, California, 94103. And it put a sticker on the address line. So make it tested -sticker. So that way we know what it is. And you have to send a stamped self-addressed envelope. We're not going to fill out envelopes and stuff because there's too many of them. And it's first come, first serve. So put your stuff in the mail now. We'll give you guys a little bit of a head start and we'll post it on the site later next week or the week after. Archon wants to know if we can get Oktobercast spoilers perchance. It's going to go 24 hours. We're not starting at the same time as last year. We will make sure the equipment works before we start the show this year. That's what I got. There will be guests. Jeff Green's going to be there. I think we've announced that already. We've secured 3 or 4 other guests so far. I'll start working on it in earnest after we get back from Maker Faire. So, there we go. Helicopter Spy says, Will, I'm looking for some good coffee. The most specialty coffee I've had is Blue Bottle, and I'm looking to dig deeper. What am I drinking lately? I am a poster child for Ritual Coffee, which is another San Francisco local roaster. Blue Bottle and Ritual have kind of different approaches. Blue Bottle does blends a lot of time, and they do single roast as well, but single origin as well. But for the most part, they blend a bunch of different beans from different places to try to get consistent flavors throughout the year. Ritual says, not interested in that. Don't want a homogeneous coffee drinking experience. And what they do is take single origin coffees from individual farms, keep them together, and you get very unique flavors. Every coffee is fairly limited. It's kind of hipster coffee, but like you'll get a Brazil that's fantastic for 3 weeks, and then you won't have it again for another 12 months. And I really like that because it forces me to try new things, and I've learned a ton about the kind of coffee I like and the kind of coffee I don't like over the last 2 or 3 years, drinking that every day. And you know, it's just been great to learn more about the types of coffee I like and don't like. So that's what I drink almost always. Right now, I'm drinking. It's named after the guy whose farm it is, I think, and it is from Nicaragua, and it is really awesome. It has like kind of a deep chocolatey flavor, and I just think it's really good. So highly recommended. I wish I could remember the name, but it's in the other room, and I'm wearing pajama pants now, so I'm not going to get up. HK Roker says, Will, what's your strategy been for weight loss and manage to keep things in check with traveling? I've just recently lost 85 pounds and need to figure out how to keep it off so I don't end up doing the diet yo-yo thing. The traveling makes it really hard. First off, dude, congratulations on losing 85 pounds. That's awesome. I've been working at it for like a year and I've lost maybe 30 pounds. So 85 is rad. Thumbs up. Mad props to you, dude. Traveling is really hard. The thing I've found is that it's much better to eat. I kind of eat whatever I want, and I just eat in moderation and control portions. So I always leave food on my plate. And I mean, my parents weren't the kind of don't get up from the table until you eat everything on your plate people. But the problem most of the time you have when you're traveling is that portion sizes at restaurants are bananas. And so you can have something that seems like it would be really healthy, and they put a whole shitload of protein, a whole shitload of cheese, and like a ranch dressing on a salad or something crazy like that, and you end up with a 1,500 calories. Well, that's excessive, but you end up with a 1,200 calorie salad, and that doesn't do you any good. I found stuff that I can eat that is filling and satisfying. But I can eat a lot of it, so I eat a ton of vegetables and like steamed vegetables, salad stuff. If you eat salad with a vinaigrette, you can eat kind of as much as you want. Proteins like beans and nuts and stuff like that. I found a couple of like protein and energy bar things that are that don't taste like shit, and B, I just leave a couple in my bag. So if I'm in a situation where I'm getting really, really hungry and I know I'm going to be then like go eat a monstrous dinner later, then I eat one of those instead, and that kind of fills me up so I'm not starving when it comes time to eat dinner. And I say that, but today we started shooting at 1:00 offsite someplace and hadn't eaten lunch yet. So, you know, it happens, and some days are good and some days are bad. So you just eat what you think is right and do the best you can. But congratulations again, man. That's awesome. Always good to hear that. Saucy says, regarding refunds for Kickstarter projects, what do you think of some of the problems Cone and the Able Brewing, some of the problems of the Cone and Able Brewing System Kickstarter complaints? They received enough pressure for refunds and early shipments to offer $35 coupons for cones. Yeah, I ordered one the other day because I was tired of waiting for my cone. I think that Keith, I've known Keith for a while, and he's a super straight up dude, and I know that it pains him to be delayed on the pottery stuff, but I also know that so the backstory is, he sold a Kickstarter that was like 4 or 5 different components. One is just the metal cone filter, the third version, what he says is the final version of the cone, and that was available standalone. But if you wanted to pitch in more, then you could get a pottery. He's building a pottery kind of brewer for it that's designed specifically to hold it and has a couple pieces. It's a really nice piece of pottery. I've seen prototypes. But he was, he was not as far along in development of the pottery as he was in the cone, and he just hit a couple of delays and missed the September ship date, which is what he was shooting for. I'm gonna have a sip of my drink here. So yeah, he delayed the whole thing. People complained. What people wanted, and I'm one of those people, was they wanted him to go ahead and ship the cone in advance, and then ship the pottery stuff later when it's done in December. And he can't do that because he said he couldn't do that because Kickstarter only allows him to run one survey, asking for reward stuff and all this kind of jazz. It's complex. Is the short version. I'm reasonably sure that he's selling those with the $35 off coupon on the cone, which I think brings it to either $30 or $25. He's probably selling that at cost or maybe even at a small loss. He's definitely not making money on that. So I know it's weird to buy the thing twice. I ended up buying it a second one just because I want to have one here and one at the office. But I definitely understand why people are sore. I kind of look at Kickstarter as a gamble. When I put money, my own money, because I do both. I put money for the site that's part of our budget to make sure we get products early. And then I also buy stuff that I think is cool on Kickstarter, just like you guys do, and use my own money for that. When I put my own money in something, I view it as a gamble because it's not a sure thing on in any case, even from people who are doing stuff. It's really hard to bring products to market. I think if there's a failing of Kickstarter, it's that they need to do a better job explaining how the service works and that you're not kind of pre-ordering a product necessarily. So yeah, I mean, there's not a good answer, right? People are pissed off, and people are always going to be pissed off when they think they've ordered something and it's going to come in September and it doesn't. But it's speculative, and that's the nature of Kickstarter. And if you have to guarantee stuff and have insurance and things like that, it's going to fuck up the whole service. And I'd rather have it the way it is and occasionally be disappointed than stifle the innovation that happens there. The one thing I would say is that Kickstarter should probably do a better job and make that stuff more clear in the I'm getting ready to put money in this project phase of your pressing through to pay, because they don't make that as clear as I think they probably should. I'm going to meet some of those dudes this weekend, so I'm sure we'll talk about it. So this is probably a good time to say, since we have 57 people in Tested Chat and 130 something on Justin TV, that if you want to ask questions, you got to do it on Tested. So go to tested.com and look for the doofy picture of me holding up a mug on the homepage directly under Adam Savage, and click there, and I will answer your questions from the Tested Chat. Just send me a message. It's at Will with 2 L's. Tora Jix says, "Hey Will, any iPhone talk tomorrow?" Nah, it's not that big a deal. I mean, new iPhone, who cares really? Yeah, of course! Jeez. We'll do a podcast tomorrow afternoon because I'm flying out on Thursday morning. Unfortunately, Gary's not available, but I think we might have a special guest, so we'll have somebody there to talk about iPhone stuff. Next question. Mark on Fire says, "Will, AirPlay plus Steam Big Picture mode viable for playing games from the couch?" No. Oh, AirPlay on a Mac. First off, AirPlay Steam Big Picture isn't available on the beta isn't available on the Mac yet, so definitely not now. It seems to me that the lag on AirPlay whole desktop streaming is such that you probably aren't going to do that on the couch. But I could be wrong. It probably depends on how well your Wi-Fi is. How good your Wi-Fi is. How well. Good God. I'm a little tired. Today was a long day. Mech4399 says, "Will, how do you deal with people who push creationist theory?" I don't have a problem with people who are creationists. I have a hard time with this stuff because it's very nuanced, and I'm not kind of a nuanced dude all the time. I have a problem with people who... I don't have a problem with people of faith. I don't have a problem with faith at all. What I don't like is when you try to interject faith-based education into the education system and I'm going to be real careful here, and to the detriment of our overall country and society. So when you're trying to teach kids that evolution is a theory and intelligent design is a theory, it's bad. It's bad for the country. It's bad for everyone. It's ultimately, we built this, the progress of the last century was built on science, and when I say science, I don't mean something that I believe in. I mean a series of rules for measuring and describing the world around us. I don't have faith in science. I have faith in the scientific method and the people who apply it smartly and honestly. But science is not a thing on the hill that has light shining down on it or anything like that. It's an idea, and that's the fundamental difference. Like I said, if you want to believe in a flying spaghetti monster, that's cool. I'm down with that. But just don't teach kids things that we know are not correct because they disagree with your outdated worldview. I'm going to get in trouble for that last one. Hi. The Big Red wants to know, do you get to talk to Carrie, Tori, or Grant from Mythbusters now? What are those duders like? We got to talk to Tori at, we kind of briefly met all those guys, but they work in a different building than Jamie and Adam, so we don't see them very often. We talked to Tori at Comic-Con, and he's just like Adam and Jamie, who are the dudes that you see on the show. He's just a dude. He's a smart dude who likes to build stuff and blow things up. So it was nice talking to him. We had a really good conversation at Adam's Comic-Con party. Jay Schmo wants to know, do you have any info on premium memberships for Tested? I was an annual member before the split. Will we have to renew, or is the whole premium membership done? So this is a good time to talk about this. If you were a premium member before with auto renew set, you're going to renew on Giant Bomb and Comic Vine, the sites that were bought by CBS, sometime soon, whenever your subscription's up. If you don't want that to happen, you should go log in over there and turn that off, and you won't have to be bothered. If it's already happened, then you can email their support information and they'll refund you, assuming it's not been like 6 months or something like that. I don't know what the limit is on that, but Dave's been really awesome about that so far. So premium memberships, Berman Braun definitely wants to do premium memberships. I liked premium memberships. I love the idea of you guys supporting us and not having to take shitty ads. We're probably going to do both, to be perfectly frank. We're trying some new, hopefully not shitty ads, hopefully good ads. We're trying some funding. We're trying to make money with YouTube right now. We turned on ads this week, so we'll see how that goes. They shouldn't affect anybody who's viewing on the site. I don't think they show through embeds, but they should show people who are just viewing tested content on YouTube.com, which is fine. I have no problem with that. If we start a premium program, you'll have to sign up new, and we'll make sure that we have PayPal and international payments and all that kind of stuff as much as we're able to. I mean, if you live in like southern Uganda or something like that, you're probably boned. But if you live in any of the countries that we had payments that worked before or can do PayPal, you'll probably be okay. If we do something, I'm not committing to anything. I haven't talked about it with anyone in a serious way. We've figured out what the challenges are that we would need to overcome to turn on a premium membership. If we do a premium membership at this time, it will be it'll probably just be no ads. Frankly, and maybe something like Jar Time or something silly occasionally. We don't have the manpower to do daily or even weekly, probably subscriber content. And given it's the unfortunate nature of having three dudes that are building 5 videos a week and 5 or 6, let's say 3 to 8 posts a day. It takes a lot of time. So yeah. Bullcut. Oh, this is a local question. Bullcut says, discussing it with my dad this week, Ridgewood barbecue or Partners barbecue? He's more of a Partners. I'm more of a Ridgewood. You are correct, sir. Partners was the ripoff. The word on the street is that Ridgewood the guy who started Partners worked at Ridgewood and split off because the people who own Ridgewood are kind of crazy and probably hard to work for. I love the beans. The beans are my favorite thing. I've over the years learned to make them and make my own barbecue sauce and the whole 9 yards. I can't do the barbecue. The barbecue that they do at Ridgewood in those big smoke boxes is amazing. For the other 150 people who are watching this, Ridgewood and Partners are local barbecue places in Northeast Tennessee. And if you're ever in the Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City area and you like pork barbecue and you don't go over there and get a sliced pork sandwich, you are doing it wrong. Get coleslaw, get the beans. Get the fries are really nice. The coleslaw is good. It's an awesome sandwich. And they have these badass smokers that they've built that are basically, it's basically just like four railroad ties with a roof on it and then chicken wire on the outside. And they build a fire under the bottom of a metal mesh platform on the railroad ties. Maybe it's not even railroad ties. It might be metal. I can't remember. But they have they do, I think, shoulder roasts at Ridgewood, and then they slice it real thin so it tenders up. And they cook them out there, and there's so much smoke billowing out of it you can't see in this far into the thing. And they run that for like 10 hours a day. So Ridgewood's badass. If you ever have the opportunity to go there, and the sliced pork sandwich is can't be beat. Phil Smith 07 says, "Will, tell us the story of how you met Gina." No, I'm gonna keep that one for myself. Sorry. Friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. Phil Smith 07 also asks, "Is Jamie shy? It seems Adam is on the site much more." Jamie does a lot of stuff that he doesn't kind of want to talk about because it's proprietary, and I mean he's an inventor. So a lot of times when he's building something, it's to hopefully sell or sell to someone else or turn into a product, and he may not want to talk about it in a kind of early when it's an early prototype or when he hasn't figured it out yet. He's definitely into teaching us more about different techniques. So I think we're going to do some stuff on plasma cutting soon. He's going to show us around the machine shop, which I think is really exciting, and that kind of stuff. And maybe we'll take the electric boat motor out at some point in the distant future. We have to work out insurance and stuff like that before we can do that. But yeah, so that's it. Did we just drop? I just dropped. Oops. Am I back? Hello? Hello? Oh, hi, I'm back. Hi. Well, that was weird. I hope I didn't miss anything. Let's go. Let's see. Phil Smith had one more question. He asked, "Will we ever be on the Mythbusters TV show?" I wouldn't rule anything out, but probably not. Berman Braun is a different company. Mythbusters is run by a completely different production company. They're awesome dudes. We know them and we like them, of course. But I mean, I don't know what we would do. They're real full. Those hours get jam packed full of awesome. And also, we're not real good at blowing stuff up. Kenzie423 says, "Superman or Spider-Man?" Superman if it's not a video game. Spider-Man if it's a video game. Robbie Green asks, "I found an under $200 vacuum former that a dude makes and sells on eBay that looks like it should work pretty good. Any chance of you guys testing it?" Yeah, email me a link. The email's on the homepage. I'll totally check that out. That sounds fantastic. Although I think you can build one for about the same price. DJ Neck Spasm says, "When do you think you guys will take a look at one of those crazy cheap 2560 by 1440 monitors from Korea?" Wes Fenlon, I think, has one coming if it's not arrived already. He's writing it up for Wirecutter first, but I think we'll probably talk about it with him after he's done that. I'm going to have a sip of my beverage. It gets hot in here with the doors closed. I mean, I should be used to it after the no air conditioning office, but I don't know. Chick Digger 802 says, "Any chance of an upcoming content ticker for the site?" Maybe. We don't have one in the new design now, but we have a kind of place that would hold that kind of information, and I like those. I think that was really nice. a thing. What I will tell you is that as a general rule, we post the podcast on Thursday night. This is only a test. We post the Atom podcast, still untitled, on Monday around midnight, between Monday and Tuesday, not between Sunday and Monday. And videos always go up between midnight and 7 a.m. Pacific time. So more or less every day. Phil Smith 007 says, these are increasingly personal questions, Phil. Do you shave your upper cheeks? The answer is yes. I'm a hairy dude. I shave my neck and I shave my cheeks. That's it. Sometimes I shave the little spot right up under my nose there because you don't want nose hair growing into your beard and beard hair growing. It's gross. Can't believe we're talking about this. Archon says, will Gary plus Joey podcast It Is Inevitable? I'd say probably, yeah. Sounds good. Gas Power says, will you be doing a video in the future about testing some cool products for pets, possibly with Chloe Banana Smith? Yeah, we've done a couple in the past. Working with dogs is kind of a pain in the ass, and I don't think we're allowed to have dogs in the new office. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, we definitely have one video upcoming with Chloe in it. So yeah, I'm stoked about that. It's real dumb what we did. Zaf says, you mentioned that since the Adam and Jamie rebrand, doors opened a lot more easily for you guys. Anything in particular you've done that you probably couldn't have happened pre-buyout? Well, we did something today we probably couldn't have done before. Starting with, I don't want to say the paper airplane guy, but like that kind of video. The ones where we go out and find people who are making cool stuff. That would have been a lot harder to do prior to Jamie and Adam. I'm hoping that we'll get a couple of things in New York that are dramatically crazy that I don't want to talk about because I'm afraid I'll jinx it. But yeah, I mean, I started on a nuclear reactor this April. Yeah. I mean, the thing that we found is, I don't want to say that these people wouldn't talk to us without Jamie and Adam associated, but it's kind of that getting the first call returned. It's like making cold calls when you're doing sales or whatever. Getting somebody to pick up the phone is the hard part, and then once we start talking to them, they realize that we just want to show kind of cool people doing interesting people doing cool work or people who are really passionate or obsessed about something. Then everything gets easy. But yeah, it's been fun. So, I mean, that kind of stuff. I didn't really appreciate what a big deal Mythbusters was before I started working with Jamie and Adam. So yeah, that's that pretty much. I don't watch a lot of TV. It turns out we all know that now. Cats Akimbo says, did you do anything special to get on the front page of YouTube and get over 500,000 views, or was that a surprise? Yeah, that was a surprise. Norm posted that video on Reddit on Friday morning, I think, and when I looked up on Sunday night or Monday morning or something like that, I was like, wow, this is our video on the front page of YouTube. And I was like, oh, but I'm logged in. It's my YouTube. I'm subscribed to Tested. And then I looked at the traffic and it was like, no, it's on the YouTube homepage, not just the personalized one. So we were really surprised and stoked and really glad. People seem to really like it. Really like that video a lot. I'm not sure exactly what it is about it. We were talking about it today. I think it's it's like the iconic moment from that movie is the first thing. So the moment where he finds out who he is and he realizes what he is, and I mean, if I went and found a safe deposit box with a bunch of my passports with a bunch of different names from a bunch of different countries and suddenly realized I could speak Russian, it would be a really weird moment for me. But the other thing about it is that even though Adam has some actual props from the movie that are probably not accessible to normal people, like that's something that I think most people look at and think, oh, I can actually do that if I wanted to spend a lot of time on it. And that's a really good feeling. It's a good feeling to have. So, yeah, I was really stoked. Gas Power says, hey, Will, are we supposed to send questions through here? Yes. Go into the Tested chat and type @Will and then put the question and I will see the question. Aaron Chance says, are there any plans for food stuff during Oktobercast? Our studio isn't really super set up for food right now. We don't have a stove or anything like that. And we could do stuff with an immersion blender, the induction cooker. We have a couple of those, but I don't because it's 24 hours and we don't have prep teams, so we kind of do everything ourselves. If we do a food segment, that means whatever we don't use is going to sit on a table kind of aging for 24 hours in the room where we're sitting recording. And I don't want to smell dying food for 24 hours. So we might eat stuff, but we'll definitely eat stuff. I had a lovely hamburger last year. But I don't think we'll probably make food during Oktobercast. If you didn't watch it last year, it's not a particularly produced show. It's 3 dudes and guests sitting in front of microphones with desks, with a desk in front of them, talking into microphones for 24 hours. Because it turns out if you do anything for 24 hours, that's at the end, that's pretty much what you're capable of if you're really lucky. So, yeah. Kenzie423 says, are you planning on making the full switch over to Windows 8, or are you going to stick with Windows 7? I'm sending this from Windows 8 right now. The unfortunate thing is kind of what I use my computer for now, my PC for now, is playing games, and occasionally if I work from home, it's I have 2 computers here. There's a Mac over here. This is the Windows machine. The Mac, when I'm doing real work, I use the Windows machine for a while, but I ended up actually just putting the Mac. Anyway, I plugged the Mac into the monitor, and it all works out. I'm not a huge fan of the Windows 8. It just feels very disjointed and not particularly good. I'm hoping that when more apps and paid apps are available, that will change and things will get better. I remain optimistic. But that said, I've already done the hard part, and I'm running the RTM on my machine here. So, the inertia is done. I've made the change. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Chick Digger 802 says, having done a lot of traveling these days, any tips for comfort? Any airplane gadgets you recommend, like those air toilet seat pillows? Are you talking about the U ones so your neck doesn't flop? I don't. I'm a terrible traveler. I'm too big for the seats. I don't sleep on planes. I'm real good about overhead. So I can pack everything I need for 2 or 3 days into a messenger bag these days, which has been really useful. If you can learn how to do that, that's awesome. Have a plan. The thing I always I don't understand why people do this. Maybe it's because I'm a little OCD. But you should have a plan going into the security line about what you're going to take off and what goes where, and you got to know to put the liquids baggie in the thing and make sure your phone's not in your pocket, and all my change is cleaned out and all that stuff. Don't carry your Leatherman through security. That's an expensive mistake. Beyond that, I mean, spend as little time as you can on airplanes because they suck, and wash your hands a lot. Wash your hands like you're at PAX. So, yeah. H. Croker asked an awesome question. My question rolled, but Alton Brown was just on Mythbusters and joined Nerdist for a spot on their podcast. Any possibility of him making a guest appearance? Dude, I love Alton Brown. Alton Brown is the fucking bomb diggity. Dude's a badass. I don't know that I'm capable of talking to Alton Brown and not losing my shit. Yeah, if we could get Alton Brown on, I would totally do that. Next time he does a book or something or is in San Francisco, I'll reach out to his agent people and see if we can get him to guest on something. I'd be kind of embarrassed to bring him into our current office, though. It's bananas. Not that there's anything wrong with the office. It's just, you want everything to be perfect for Alton Brown to come over. So, DJ Nextspasm says, hey, Will, I just started a course on C#. Do you know any programming languages? Drinking some first here. No. I can write HTML, but that's not really a programming language because I don't know real HTML5. I know HTML 3.1 or 2. Let's see. do I know anything else? I used to be able to write a little Python stuff, but I'm not proficient at all. So yeah, no, I don't know any programming languages. If I had to learn something today, I'd probably learn Python just because that's what our guys are using on Django. And also it's what they use for Replicator G, which both of those things seem like they'd be handy to be able to do a little damage in. Our bank says, it seems like any type of coffee I try, Blue Bottle Belladonna at the moment, in my AeroPress, it always comes out slightly sour. I've tried reducing, increasing water temps and brew time, but I can't nail it. Any suggestions? Sour usually means your water is a little bit too cold, I think. You should get a thermometer and get a scale. Like if you want to make better coffee, a scale is the best thing you can get after you have a decent grinder. I usually hit so my basic rule of thumb for water for getting water prep right without having to have a thermometer is to let the water boil in my electric kettle. I run a timer, and when it hits 30 seconds, I pour it into, for an AeroPress, I let it sit for 30 seconds before I dump it into the pour over kettle. It doesn't matter when the order, really. So I take the water off, I pour it in the pour over kettle. When the timer hits 30 seconds, I dump it into the coffee, and that's usually right at like 203, 205 degrees. Between the amount of the temperature that the water decreases as it warms up the kettle, the air transfer time, and just general kind of heat emission. So yeah, give it 30 seconds, and that's my advice. Don't bring the water up to 205 and then pour it in, because what happens is the AeroPress and everything else gets things cold. I'd have to look to be sure. Post something in the forums, and I'll confirm in my good coffee book. But I'm pretty sure that sour is too low. That's definitely true on espresso, and I think it's true on brewed coffee as well. Monkey Man 04, we talked about Steam Big Picture Mode at the beginning of the show. There'll be an archive up in the morning if I didn't mess this up somehow. Couple of other, let's see, I've got about a third left here, but the questions seem to be winding down, and I'm into the heavy ice section now too, so it's going to go fast. If you have questions, get them in now. Phil Smith 07 says, "Are you excited about the movie Looper?" Yes, I am. I think I like that. Everything about that. I'm skipping questions I've already answered, so sorry guys. Maybe Chad will fill you in. Now that the first 10 successes have been announced, what do you think of Steam's Greenlight? I did not know that the first 10 successes have been announced. As I said before, I was away from computer all day, so if those games are awesome, then I'm really excited about it. If they aren't, then I'm less excited about it, I guess. I don't have strong feelings about scrounging up $100 to submit a game to Greenlight. That seems, I understand why the Valve people would want to have a barrier to entry, and I understand why the developers would think it's a little bit of a ripoff to submit $100 for the chance to develop. However, in order to get a dev kit and dev access on iOS, you have to spend $100 or more. I think it's $25 on Android, and for Microsoft, you have to spend $99 as well on the XNA Pro or whatever they call that thing now, the indie license. So it is comparable with the other platforms that as far as I'm aware. Tsiro says, "Hey, how are the stand-up desks going?" They're going really well. I quite like it. I find it's great for like quick working and video editing, audio editing, and stuff like that. If I'm going to sit and write something for like 2 hours, then I usually grab the laptop about 45 minutes in and go sit down on the couch or find a desk or something someplace. However, I wrote a 2,000 word thing there the other day and it was fine. So, I like the stand-up desks. I like standing. I like having the option of standing or sitting. You have that with the stand-up desks. You don't with a normal desk. So there you go. Will, Norm, and Chloe Bananas are being grabbed by zombies. Who will you save? Sorry, Norm. He's not in here, right? Yeah, sorry, Norm. Kenzel421 says, any new Lego builds? I went deep on those little kits, like the mini scale ones. The ones that come with the planets, with the double hemisphere planet and a minifig. I bought the 4 original series original trilogy kits, a ATST, a Bespin Cloud Car, a TIE Interceptor, and an X-Wing. They're $10 each. I think they're awesome. I have more appreciation after I built a couple of those mini scale things. I built that Star Destroyer last year, and a few other things. Like those are. I love the big scale stuff, and I love the intricacy of that. But it's really much more impressive to me to kind of like 8-bit those designs and pare them down to their elements and do an 80-piece thing that looks like an X-Wing fighter or a TIE Interceptor or whatever. I think that's awesome. The ATST one is especially good. Chick Digger 802 says, when are Still Untitled usually recorded? Are they recorded in bulk? Yeah, we usually do two or three at a time. You can tell if you look at the shirts that we're wearing because nobody changes clothes. So we did 2 with the high camera kind of aimed down at the bookcases at Adam's studio. We have one more that we recorded at M5 a couple weeks ago. Basically, we find an hour with Adam. Norm and I haul in the gear, set it up. We shoot the podcast, and then we clear out and he goes back to work on Mythbusters or whatever else he's doing that day. Kenzie423 says, looking back at the past year, what's the most memorable thing you did with Tested? Dude, I gotta say it's the Nuclear Reactor. Although the 737 simulator was amazing. It's the modernist cuisine stuff is incredible. I'm gonna forget stuff. The thing we did today is I think you guys are gonna really like. That'll probably be up next week, or hopefully next week, maybe the week after. Some of the stuff we've seen at Maker Faire, like everything's awesome. I have no complaints. We see rad stuff every day, so that's pretty much it. Archon's asking about the IRC channel, and no, there will not be a link on the main page. You guys are killing the forums. It's well established. Robbie Green wants to know, would you guys do any videos or posts about more skill-based things like yo-yo or juggling? I got to show off my meager juggling skills a few weeks ago. Those videos will come up in October sometime. I mean, maybe. I'm not averse to that stuff. I think it's cool. I used to yo on occasion. And I can juggle 3 things and ever so briefly, maybe 3.5, 4. So yeah, I like if we found the right story, if we had somebody who was doing something really rad, then we would totally go talk to them about juggling or yo-yoing or whatever. Secret wish is to use my newfound machining skills to make a yo-yo out of sheet metal, out of a metal block that's just a badass metal yo-yo. I don't think I'm ever going to do it because it would be ridiculously expensive, but. Anyway, Chick Digger 802 asks about, you're asking a lot of questions, Chick Digger, not that I'm complaining. What do we do with products that we bought for review after the review? Do we return them, give them away, leave them around the house? A little bit of everything. We haven't bought a whole lot of stuff lately, so most of it goes back to the vendor if they provided it. All of it goes back to the vendor if they provided it. If we bought it, sometimes it goes into storage. Sometimes it goes to the home office because somebody down there will use it for something. Like tablets and stuff like that go to the developers because we can, Mike Horn can always use an iPad or a Nexus 7 or something like that to test code on because it's real hard to test that stuff. So there you go. Torajix says, hey, I'm moving to a new place. Should I get Fios? It's already installed, or cable for internet only? Oh, that's that's a real, just don't get cable. Get Fios. If you can get Fios. I guess if people have complaints about everything telecom, but yeah, Fios is supposed to be pretty fast. I would probably get that. Monkeyman04 says, are we going to see what you can do with a lathe? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Chick Digger 802 says, what are your, Norm, and Joey's official job titles? Joey's a producer. Norm and I are editors. I don't know that we have job titles. I don't have a business card. We still don't have a new business card because we're changing the logo a little bit with the new design. And we don't want to bother printing cards until we have new logos. So, yeah. There we go. And I guess I'm going to have a sip of my beverage here. It's a refreshing beverage. I guess that'll do it for us today. Thank you guys for listening. I'm going to have a sip of water here, too. Out in the sun all day today, you get a little dehydrated. You got to drink a lot of water when you come back after something like that. Been a pleasure, as always, with the jar time. I'll try to do these more frequently. I think the live chat stuff is working a lot better now than it was before. We need to stress test the live chat at some point in the not too distant future. So probably next week, we're going to ask you guys to get thousands of you on the chat, as many of you as we can at a time, to prep for Oktobercast, because we're doing a little bit of different stuff on the back end. And if you see this and you would like to help us with that, please watch Twitter, and we'll post something on the front page, so we schedule it far in advance. And we'll do something real dumb during the time that we stress test that. So we will make it worth your time. And until the next time we do a No Jars Allowed, I'm Will. See you guys later. Bye. Cut.